Can you hear me?
I can hear you and I can see you. How are you, Tom?
I'm amazing. How are you?
Everything is good. You like to get up early in the mornings?
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Yeah. How is everything with you? Everything is
Good.
good.
Busy days. Grateful that people want to talk to me, basically.
For me, it's always, when it comes to Evergrey, for me, it's always difficult to prepare anything because, I'm just a big fan. And, when I think you guys cannot top what you do, you guys do it. And that's what you did with the Heartless Portrait. And, you know, how how can you guys keep up just getting better and better, with making records? Because it's not easy when you accomplish already so much with the albums, and the reviews have been always so great, and you deliver an album like Artless Portrait that's just fucking amazing.
Thank you. I mean, it's like, I don't know. How do you answer that? Thank you, first of all. But I mean, I. I think the recipe is, to be honest, it's the only recipe we have is to try to make a better song than the last one. That's it. And by that, the only judge we have are ourselves. And luckily, it seems like we are being somewhat good judges of what is a good quality in terms of our own abilities to judge what you will probably or hopefully like. But I mean, we make it for ourselves, and it just seems that when we like it, it seems to be understood by other people as well.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's been the case for us since day one. We never. Yeah, that's the only recipe. I don't have an answer. I'm just happy that people like it. It's easy as that.
Yeah, and listening to this record, production wise, everything is very crystal clear when it comes to every instrument on this record. You can hear the bass, you can hear, obviously drums, guitars. Everything seems to have found its rightful place on this record. When you guys are writing a song and the recording, and then comes the mixing time, how much work does it take to try to balance everything to the point of everyone being happy with what they hear?
Wow. I mean, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work. Me and Jonas especially are working our asses off in terms of achieving that level of quality that we think that it deserves, and needs. And outside of that, we all put in everything that we have into every release that we have done, and that's just a fact, and that goes from everything from the booklet to every single hi-hat hit on a drum. It's there's nothing that is unimportant. Everything is super important. It's so there's a deliberate decision for everything that we do, and then you can imagine there's quite a few decisions to be made during an album.
Yeah.
Should I play this note or that note or this note? It's like, fuck me, it's an ongoing. Being in that environment is hell, but it sometimes also feels like this is what we're put here to do, in a sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't explain. Music for me is magic, and I can't. I don't want to be able to explain magic. Yeah. Where does it come from? I don't have a fucking clue. I don't want to find out either. But I mean, outside of that, then of course, yes, me and Jonas are also production nerds in terms of engineering stuff, so that it starts to sound good, so that when we send it to Jacob Hansen, it sounds as good as we can make it sound. Yeah. And we also work with a guy called Jacob Herman in the studio to record the drums to make them sound as close to the final result as possible, because we want Jacob Hansen to be working on the fine detailing of making this from gold to the diamond. So therefore we want to give him the best possible starting point.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. For me, I listen to a lot of, modern bands. And, I bring this a lot when I talk to bands to try to understand what's the idea behind it. Because a lot of the records, everything is very much compressed. Everything seems to be very crushed somehow, or, it's make it hard to hear a whole record because it tires the ear. But listening to something like Heartless Portrait, it's a breeze.
Yeah, but I agree. I mean, thank you, but I agree. But I think that's the gift that Jacob Hansen has too. Even though he's not getting dog shits of performances, he's getting quite decent material in terms of everything that inspires him.
Yeah.
Then he also has an ability and a gift to make the sonic quality understandable for the human ear, and I think that's what people appreciate the most with Jacob, that he has an ability to translate bands into something that he understands people wants to hear.
Yeah. And you guys, you especially been busy during this pandemic, probably more than ever before, because at Silent Skies working on Evergrey. Was it easy for you in a mental standpoint, because you obviously used to go on tour on a regular basis? The tour was postponed for a couple of years. Was it easy for you to keep the focus on making music, or was the goal of making music the thing that kept you sane in all these couple of years?
Yeah, if I answer the last part first, that's probably true. I don't know if I am sane, though. It's like, but I mean, for me, it's, yeah, creatively, this has been a crazy period in terms of, if I look back and see what I have accomplished in terms of releases, because I've done like 6 albums within 20 months, which is quite an amount of albums. And on top of that, I also did like 4 video games, music for that. And, so it's an ongoing thing, but at the same time, I go to work like everybody else. Why should I be sort of excluded? Yeah. It's like, you fucking wake up at 7, you go to work at 8, and then I go home at 5. The only benefit that I've have received from this is that nowadays, not having to go on tour, if we put it in that context, have also balanced the family life and allowed us to not make an album on the expense of ourselves, wearing ourselves out. So yeah, and when family life and all of that stuff works, I think it's relieving stress from us, and that makes us become better musicians and creators. So yeah.
Did your wife or your kids told you like, what are you doing here? Go away.
I also have quite a new wife, quite a fresh wife in my life now. Okay. So she was sort of also marrying a touring musician, so she's like joking and saying, dude, I was marrying a guy who was supposed to be away half of the year. Get the fuck out of here. Now you've been home for 2 years. What the hell is this?
This is not what I'm married for. That wasn't the promise.
No, I'm married for freedom, and now you have me locked up in this pandemic bullshit for years.
And when did you start working? When did you guys start working on the Heartless Portrait? When did what was the first song, let's say, that you guys worked, that you realized, okay, we are working on new Evergrey music?
We took a conscious decision the day after Escape of the Phoenix came out. We had a band meeting, and decided. I said that I told them I don't think we will be able to play for at least 1 year. So why don't we be smart about it and start composing at least and see where that takes us. So everybody went home to their studios. I'm here now, and everybody did that, and then we sort of regrouped after 6 weeks and started listening to maybe 50 ideas that was totally new from the 5 of us. So it's like, first we were surprised in a sense that we were sort of already in that mode, but we never left that mode. That was the issue, I think, so. And then we started to shake those 50 ideas down to maybe 20 ideas that we all agreed on, and then we did that, and me and Jonas went back and started composing songs out of the ideas, and then we met a month after that again, and so now we're sort of in May last year we had sort of already come to the point where we decided that these 10 ideas are worth making songs out of.
Yeah.
And then we just kept on going, and when autumn came, like August, September, we had already pretty much all of the songs done, and most of the parts already recorded as far as guitars and vocals and keyboards. And so we did, like we have done for the last couple of albums, we recorded bass and drums and stuff last onto already done tracks, which was a great... I mean, it's highly logical to start with the fucking drums, to be honest. So let's ask the listeners, what are you listening to when you're listening to a new song? It's not the fucking snare drum, is it? It's the vocals, probably, you know, or something that gets you headbanging, but whatever. So so they got to really record onto something that would be the sort of final result, which made them have the ability to play, you know, do fills onto guitar solos and have pauses in where there were supposed to be vocals, and all of these things help the creative process, and also upend our game into a new, better way of working.
Yeah. And you know, you said you had those 10 ideas, so you don't work with I mean, there's no leftovers from songs that you guys were working and you decided not to go ahead. Normally what does it, when you work on 10 ideas, do the others you guys just throw out, or you guys keep it and look, you know, down the line in a couple of years, see if there's something?
We think we have 200, honestly, 200 song ideas that we never used. And then every time we start looking at, if we have a pause in between the albums, we start, let's listen to this now. And then it's like, fuck, this is great. Why didn't we use this? And we sit there and it's like, great, so I've written all these riffs here. What are we using? And everybody's like, nothing. We're not using any of that, even though we like it. It's because Evergrey is so tied into the here and now. It's important for us to release music that is representing who we are at the time we write the album, not who we were 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense. And there's always going to be music that you need to write in order to get to the music that needs to be on an album. It's different steps of the process.
Yeah. And, you know, when you're working with Silent Skies, obviously different style, it's a more ambient with keyboards and stuff. Does that influence you somehow when you go back to Evergrey? Those, you know, because I talked with Vikram for Nectar Records, and the album is fantastic, you know, as well. I mean, everything that you sing on, it's normally that. So,
thank you so much. Yeah,
I say that you could sing the phone book to me, and I'll be fucking happy about it.
I wouldn't be that happy singing it though.
But
thank you. Yeah, but I mean, yeah. What was the question?
If Silent Sky somehow can influence when you go back to Evergrey, those ambient sounds that are created there, did you think that could be, you bring some of those ideas or inspirations back to Evergrey?
I think unconsciously they sort of interfere with each other in a way, but more so for the vocal parts, because I discovered that if anything, if I have sort of analyzed this properly, if there's anything differing Heartless Portrait from the Escape of the Phoenix album, it's that I sing in slightly with some new elements into the Heartless Portrait album, being high falsetto issues and attacking vocals in a different style, and that's most definitely coming from how I sing with Silent Skies. Even though in Evergrey I use that voice, but one octave up, you know. So yeah, it's about me still developing my vocal style, I would say, and getting to become a better musician in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I don't see a clear path how Tom in Evergrey influences Silent Skies that much. Maybe it influences Vikram in his ideas of writing, but we write so much together nowadays. So it's it's inevitable. It's gonna be there, right?
Yeah.
So.
And when it comes to Silent Skies, I've seen your posts on Instagram that you're still working on more songs. Can we expect that next year, or release?
Yes, for sure. At least one album.
At least one. I have that many ideas.
I think we have 20 song ideas already.
Okay.
And we started recording them, so yes. And I'm sitting here with this, recording the new Evergrey stuff too. So it's.
Do you ever stop? No.
No. Why? I stop when I die.
Yeah. You have plenty of time to rest. Then.
Plenty of time to rest, and I hope there's plenty of time until I have to rest too.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I don't, then at least I made the best effort I could.
Yeah.
While I was here, right? So that's my whole point, I think.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to leave this earth feeling that I had shit to do still,
Yeah. Yeah, that would be probably the worst thing that can happen to anyone. It's realizing that they're going and, I still could do so much more. And, Anyway, back to this record, one of the things I noticed, it's the guitars, like melodies wise, they are very refined on this record. There seems some sense of new inspiration somehow on this record. Was that the case? Did you guys like working with Eric on the guitars? Did you guys realize there was a lot of inspiration, so to say, on making this record?
I mean, rhythm-wise, Henrik didn't play any guitars on this album. Because he was also, since this was very quickly decided that we should do this album, he was also already in work with his solo album,
Okay.
So but everyone plays rhythm guitars on this album. Johan plays the rhythm guitars on the Great Unwashed song. Jonas plays for several songs. I play for the rest. So it's that's also what's so great about being in Evergrey. There are no egos anymore. It's not like, I'm the guitar player. I should be playing this. It's I think that's also what you hear in a sense. It's some fresh elements coming in. It's because the other guys are playing. Okay. Even though we write it together, it's like usually if it's a really important part that needs to be played by a real guitar player, we have changed that. Or if there's something that sounds like, this doesn't sound at all like me playing it, I would like to play it like I play it. Then we would do that. And then we did that. But for the Great Unwashed, which is a really heavy guitar riff, perfectly played to the extent that this is how Johan wants it to sound. Why should we go in and re-record that and making it sound worse in his ears, Because it wouldn't sound like him, which is great. And he plays some solo melody on there too, and I added my solo melody on his. So then we have harmonies. It's played by me, but of course all solos are played by me and Henrik, and so forth. I don't know what the question was, but
but it's basically that. No, I was just it was about the guitar work because I sense there was some freshness and inspiration on this record than on the Escape of the Phoenix, for instance. And, I was just wondering what was that. And I think you answered that by saying that, the other guys play guitar parts as well. And probably that's, why it sounds fresher these days.
Yeah, of course. And I think it's very logical. I play keyboards a lot on this album. So does Jonas, and we always do. Nobody knows this probably, but I would say that we maybe play 80% of the keyboards on the albums. But when it comes to soloing and stuff, of course, then it's up to Rickard. And if it comes to great piano playing, then Rickard plays it. But playing fucking pads on the keyboard, why would we re-record that? No, Rickard has to play the parts because he's the keyboard player. But nobody else played drums. That's for damn sure. I even played bass on this album too, actually.
Really? Well, that's great. Call Out the Dark. It's one of my favorite songs on this record, and for for whatever reason, gave me a vibe of those early records. Do you sense that on that song specifically?
That it reminds of earlier albums?
Yeah,
Or?
yeah, of early records. Well, it
And
sounds
that
like
whole
Evergrey
riff-
anyway, but just
Yeah, but I mean, that whole keyboard riff was that started that song. And that came from Rickard. And then we listened to it, and this was one of these 50 ideas that was there in the beginning. And everybody was like, yeah, that's great. And nobody cared anymore, you know. And then he came back the next time and was like, I still have this riff. And we're like, yeah, we heard it last time. So we dismissed it, and then he went home to Jonas, and they started to work on it as a song, and then they brought some sort of idea that sounded more like a song to me and to the rest of us, and then all of a sudden we picked up on it, and then we made it into the guitar verses and guitar choruses, and then I wanted to write like a Rainbow in the Dark modern version. That was what it was reminding me of, in a sense.
yeah.
So that's how I came up with the melody of the choruses.
Cool. And you guys have a tour coming up in September, October. Fingers crossed that will happen. You guys looking forward to go back on the roads?
Yeah, of course. I mean, first and foremost, yes, absolutely. But then also there's a portion of fear. Am I a touring musician anymore, or did I get to be too convenient and old now, so I should just sit here and record music instead? But yeah, I mean, of course, it's a lovely privilege to be a touring musician and see the world for another lap, you know. So most definitely looking forward to fulfilling the albums, 2 albums now,
Yeah.
because they only get to their full potential when you get to play them live and interact with your audience.
Yeah. And when it comes to the set list, you're going to mix Escape of the Phoenix with this record with some classics in between. What's the idea, if you have any yet, for that tour?
Yeah, I mean, we discussed this the other day. It makes sense for us to play the most from the last 5 albums, because those are the albums that have brought us a new audience, and today you can easily monitor this via Apple Music and Spotify, and we have 60% of our audience today is new audience that came during the last 8 years, you know. So, and we're on our 13th album, and our 12th album was our highest commercial success. So it's I don't know. We're just lucky to also bring in the old fans too, you know. So it's everybody seemed to like it. It's great.
You know, when people ask, what songs you want, do you like that idea of making a poll, so to say, of asking fans what songs they want to hear? Does that make it easier or more difficult for you guys when it comes to pick up a set list?
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is also, everyone, no matter if they came on board in 2014 or 2001, they will appreciate the album that brought them to the band, right?
Yeah.
Most. But if you compare, we have to look at it from a business side of point as well. Because if we're playing 5 songs from In Search of Truth, because people think that's the best album in the world, then we're excluding 80% of the rest of our fan base, you know? Because if you look at the total streamings, for instance, for In Search of Truth, Forever Outsider, I think, has more plays than the full album of In Search of Truth.
Yeah.
So, that's the difference in reality, that we have to adapt to. So, no, we won't ask what songs do you want to hear, because then we will get 144 different songs to be asked for. So, but needless to say, I mean, if you imagine, if we only did the video songs from the last 5 albums, then we would be playing for fucking 2 hours.
Yeah.
So it's like, it never ends.
It's never going to be easy. And, last thing that I want to tell you, if you let me pick up one song that you guys should play, I'm going to tell you that you should play Nosferatu, because I haven't heard that song live. I don't know. I saw you guys when you guys played Portugal for the first time, but I'm
Where?
not sure. when you guys played Portugal, first time it was many years ago. Actually, it wasn't that many people there on that night. Unfortunately, it was like a really downtime for live shows for some reason in Portugal for metal. I don't know what happened. Anyway, but in Nosferatu, it's the song that got me into Evergrey. So, you know, every time I have the chance to talk to you guys, I say, please play that one.
Don't get your hopes up.
I'm going away.
That's it.
I'm not listening to you guys anymore if you don't play that. No, I'm joking. Anyway, Tom, thank you very much for your time. Love Heartless Portrait. You guys did it again, as I said at the beginning. I'm not saying that because I'm talking to you, because it's the honest truth in my opinion. It's a great record, and you know, I look forward to see you guys. If not on the European tour, you know, I might try go to Dublin. I'm not sure if I have the time to go there this time around, but if I can, I'll go there. Otherwise, next year in festivals, you know, hopefully, fingers crossed that you guys play a lot and I can see you again, because it's always a great experience to see Evergrey live. So
thank you so much, man. Yeah, we hope so. Let's hope for the best, yeah?
Yeah, and I'll go on social networks to say play Nosferatu until you guys decided like, I give up, we'll play that. All right, Tom,
thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Have
Bye-bye.
a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.